I would also like to understand your perspective on Pakistan's precise targeting, as you yourself talked about, of military installations without civilian casualties versus India's indiscriminate targeting of civilian areas.
This is a very valid question. You see, the big difference between is, I thought the mightier you are, the more sober you will be, more dignified and graceful you should be. Unfortunately, we have not found that in case of India. Pakistan being a smaller country, we have introduced or at least implemented the grace element in the war. There should be an element of soberness. We want to fight, to contest with the military. What did they do in the last 2 days? Throwing in the drones almost around different cities, sending a message that we can still penetrate into Pakistan. Fine. The biggest objective they wanted to probably create was that they wanted to create an element of discomfort, insecurity, and fear amongst the Pakistani people. If you are in Islamabad and I'm in Lahore, just drive around at 12 o'clock. The restaurants are full, people are enjoying the life, whatever, the streets are full of the traffic.
Agreed.
There is no sign of panic here, let me tell you. People have resorted, rather they have more determination and willpower in supporting the armed forces with more resilience.
All right. Chishti Saab, I'll have to cut you short. Kindly stay with us. We've also been joined by Shahid Rahman Sahaba, who is, of course, a leading political figure in Pakistan and part of Pakistan People's Party. Shahid Rahman Sahaba, thank you very much to have joined us. In your point of view, seeing all that has happened, seeing all that has ensued since early this morning from the Pakistani side as a result of the continued Indian propagation, the fact is India also has continued to sow discord, not only within Pakistan but also between the Sikh communities and Pakistan. Before I go to further details of that, I'd like to understand your point of view on how Pakistan should now counter India's this apparent attempt to sow discord within its own Sikh population by targeting Sikh sites and projecting these as Pakistani attacks.
Sorry, I can't really hear you properly. Hello?
Oh.
Hello?
Can you hear me properly now? Ma'am, can you hear us properly now?
I don't know.
Okay, there seems to be a technical issue. We can't get to Shahid Rahman. So, of course, unfortunately, the line has been dropped. We'll come back to Shahid Rahman as soon as it's possible. Is Air Commodore Khalid Chishti Saab still there?
Still with you.
Chishti Saab, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm with you.
All right, Chishti Saab, you were saying, I'm really sorry I had to cut you short.
No, absolutely no problem. The question that I'm saying that
we can't hear you, Chishti Saab.
Sorry.
Can
you dial it again?
Yes, now we can hear you. Can you please continue, sir?
Okay. Okay. I was saying that now the Indian government has played its cards, both sides, in front of Pakistan and in front of their own people. They have to choose one of the options. Do they feel embarrassment in front of the armed forces of Pakistan, or do they feel embarrassment in front of the people of India? They cannot win both sides, because on one side they created the hype, they raised the expectation. I was saying that.
All right, sir, kindly stay online with us. We've been joined by Shahid Rahman Sahaba. Can you hear us now, ma'am?
Yes, I can hear you.
Wonderful. You've seen all that has ensued since this morning. Pakistan's befitting response to India's continued aggression since the last few days without any proper justification of why it started it all. In this whole scenario, how do you see Pakistan's stance now developing on the regional, on the national and on the international front?
Well, first of all, thank you. First of all, I think that what India has done is actually highly condemnable, because for 3 days they have resorted to unprovoked and indiscriminate bombing on civilian targets in Pakistan in a multi-domain, platform across all platforms, which is mostly, you also saw drones being used. 77 drones were fired into Pakistan. It's another matter that we were able to shoot down planes, drones, and also counter completely ludicrous and egregious propaganda being spread of unprecedented nature from mainstream channels who are not supposed to really just sell any kind of news as authentic news. I mean, there was ridiculous accounts of Pakistan being wiped from the map and, seaports being located inside Punjab and ridiculous things. So I think that they have been attacking us with maximum strategic restraint, high professionalism, responding, and then we did not really launch any kind of attack to the point where we are now goaded into a highly irresponsible war that they have started. We have been goaded into this war after 3 days of indiscriminate, unprovoked bombing into our territory. And we are going to obviously defend our terrain. We're going to defend our people and our sovereignty. So these three things are absolutely red lines that we will not allow any other country to breach. I mean, we are not going to also sit back and let them destroy our country because we were willing to open dialogue, we were willing to speak to them or get into negotiations, which, for the record, Pakistan is always open to, because that's what mature nuclear states do. They seek to reduce risk. They seek to manage crises and set up protocols between countries that manage this, so that the region is able to stay stable and secure and work with peace dividends. But it seems India has other plans. The Modi regime has completely lost all sight of rationality, and even are now hurting their own political base by the kind of losses that Pakistan is imposing on them today. So there are costs to this war. Obviously, both sides will face costs, but it's initiated entirely by India as the aggressor. And I'm very clear, we have at every point kept a door open for peace, and even today for de-escalation, which is the only way forward, but not a unilateral de-escalation, has to be from both sides. Space has to be created from both sides, because India has seen what Pakistan can do. They miscalculated our conventional deterrence capabilities and were, literally in shock. So I think they've had to redo their military calculus for how Pakistan is to be dealt with in their mind, and they don't have any answers, frankly. And de-escalation will have to be the way forward. We have need also making space for. But none of
I'd also like to. I'd also like to add to something in that respect. You talked about, de-escalation. You talked about Pakistan's doors always being open. But the fact is that in the impartial investigation or a probe that our Prime Minister alluded to and has been reiterated time and again, has never been to date accepted by India. Under the current situation or circumstances, when Pakistan has shown a very befitting response, do you feel India will be ready to have that impartial probe, A, into this Pahalgam false flag operation, B, will it be ready to come to talks for de-escalation? These are two parts of the same question, ma'am.
Sorry, I'm not an analyst and you're asking analyst positions. I have party positions and government positions to state here. And those are that country has been completely open to not just joint investment, which are full transparency and cooperate and ability to cooperate and a willingness to cooperate on. And in a context, Pakistan has always been to fight 21st century threats, is terrorism, and even climate change, have not responded at all, except in a kind of belligerence that is reminiscent of the 19th century. So, looking at one very aggressive ideology into the region as part of their imposed hegemony, and I think that's completely unacceptable to us. We are not They're not Israel and they're not Palestine. So it's not going to work with us. We offer all rational, joint, equal, fair collaborations and negotiations and de-escalations, but they can't be one-sided and they can't be mistaken for weakness. I hope that's clear.
Ma'am, yes. One last question in that regards, Indian media. You talked about the Indian media that went berserk, that talked about complete falsehoods, and then even before, after the false flag operation, it was going into all the different kinds of, shoddy directions, to, let's put it that way. And then it talks about Pakistan aircrafts being down, pilots being arrested, and so on and so forth. And this was so many details that I don't want to get into. Now Indian media raises questions about the Modi government's ability to defend the country following the defeats at the hand of Pakistan Air Force. NDTV, Al Jazeera questions the Indian military's failure to protect critical air bases like Bhatinda from broad daylight attacks. There was journalist Karan Thapar's interview with Parvin Swami that was also criticizing India's military failures, and that led then to a ban on that very outlet that was showing that interview. Will there be answers given asked by these media centers and these different channels and these journalists on the Modi government's capabilities, or will the Indian government continue to either shun it or present a different narrative? We unfortunately have been cut as far as Shah is concerned. There seems to be some technical issue. The call was dropped before, also it was dropped. We have to go to the latest news. Khalid Taimur Saab joins us online to discuss more on that. Thank you very much, boss, to have joined us. I'd like to understand, in this whole narrative of the Indian media, barraging falsehoods and false lies, F-16 down, pilot arrested, and so on and so forth. And now come the questions from the Indian public. Now come the questions from NDTV and Al Jazeera about why there was a failure by the Modi government, why what happened as a result of what has been happening since this morning. And the Indian government seems to shirk all that away. Will answers be ever given by the Indian government on these very questions?
Yes, thank you very much. We have been seeing that the Indian government has been giving false narrative to its media, and since last few days we have been seeing very extensive false narrative being spread out by not less than the Indian government itself. Maybe they are under war hysteria, and especially in last few days, once they have seen their aircrafts fallen and they have seen, now they have seen Pakistan's befitting response. So probably they were not expecting this much from Pakistan, and probably they thought that Pakistan is going to bulge Pakistan is going to bulge in front of them. But they have seen the response of Pakistan. They have seen that Pakistan has nothing to hide. Pakistan is telling the world that Pakistan had not done any sort of previously attacks on the Indian soil. And today, when Pakistan has given a response, Pakistan has nothing to hide. Our media, our official sources, they have shown whatever they have done. And we have given a very clear message to the world that if India tries to raise one finger towards Pakistan is going to give such a response that India is going to remember throughout their life. And now I'm sure that the Modi government must be reconsidering their decisions. And yes, today we just saw a few hours back the Indian military spokeswoman. She was saying that India is ready to ceasefire. And I'm sure that today, sometime by the evening or by tomorrow morning, on the American and the Saudi pressure, I'm sure the Modi government is going to offer a olive branch to Pakistan. But one thing is for sure, that Pakistan is not going to budge in front of the pressure. Pakistan is not going to give away its sovereignty. Pakistan has given a befitting response, and if India tries to do certain misadventure again, I'm sure that Pakistan government, Pakistan forces, and the people of Pakistan, we are all ready to give them a befitting reply.
All right, Khalid Saab, I'd also like to understand a little bit on our capabilities that Pakistan Air Force has very ably shown since this morning. And being a foreign affairs expert and understanding our defense strategies, I think you could be one of the best persons to answer that. How significant are these recent losses? We've talked about during these transmissions many a time since this morning. How significant are these recent losses suffered by the Indian military, whether it be the destruction of critical air bases like Udhampur, Bhatinda, Sirsa, or others for India's overall defense capabilities? And also, the reports of Pakistan's Thunder hypersonic missiles destroying the $1.5 billion S-400 air defense system. Does that show the Indian air defense network's vulnerability to modern missile threats?
Yes, one thing is very sure that Pakistan has not targeted any sort of civilian targets. Pakistan has had very precise information about the Indian arsenals, especially those arsenals which had been attacking Pakistan. And today's morning strikes are not only an eye-opener for the India, but also for the complete world, that Pakistan's precision quality of missiles, Pakistan missiles, and our Air Force and all other, even the artillery guns, they have been only targeting those arsenals, those military positions which had been used against Pakistan. Pakistan is not against civilian population of India. Pakistan is going to retaliate whenever there is some kind of attack on the Pakistani soil. So today's attacks are very, very significant because the Indian air bases are destroyed, their arsenals are destroyed, and I'm sure up till now the Indian government must be calculating that what kind of damage has been done, and I'm sure that the overall damage is above $5 to $6 billion because not only their weapon arsenals are destroyed, but their air bases are also destroyed, and now it's going to take them ages to reconstruct them. So one thing is for sure, that Pakistani military has not targeted any kind of civilian areas, not even one civilian, as the Indian media has reported that a civilian is killed during these airstrikes. These were very, very targeted airstrikes and a very clear message to India that we know where your weapons are, we know what you are doing, and we know exactly that what your intentions are and what your intentions were. So they should not be in any kind of fool's paradise.
All right. I would also like, you were talking about the losses. The losses are $83 billion Khalid Saab, as per Reuters is concerned. And of course, the Indian stock market is also going down because of all of these losses that it has entailed. What do you feel that India, as a result of this, is going to, entail a major economic dent? And if so, is this a lesson learnt for India to involve itself as far as false accusations and false propaganda is concerned, or do you feel that India is a country that will continue to propagate what it has been propagating since 2014 under the Narendra Modi regime?
No, I think that today's message is very clear to India. And yes, of course, during the BJP's Modi regime, India had been accusing falsely towards Pakistan regarding these false flags operations and many other instances. But since 2014 till today, Pakistan had not given this kind of befitting response. And I think this response will not only jeopardize India's economy, but also this is going to be the last nail in the coffin of Mr. Modi's politics, because he is already on the lowest ebb of his political career. And probably he thought that due to this false flag operation, he will be able to please his domestic audience. But everything has fallen apart. The Indian forces have not fought any kind of war since last probably 30, 40 years. But Pakistani army has been in active war since 9/11. We have been fighting terrorism, and each and every soldier is battle hardened. So Indian Army and Indian Air Force should rethink before attacking again Pakistan that we are a battle-hardened army. We are not like them, that we have not been staying in the barracks since last 20, 30 years. So, and I'm sure the message which today the Indian military and Air Force and Navy has got, this is a very clear to them that they are up against a military which is battle-hardened, and but India has only been conducting military exercises, but they have not seen any kind of external or internal war. We have seen on the Afghan front, we have seen the fight against terrorism. So each and every soldier is not only ready, but he exactly knows the tricks of the trade. He exactly knows that how the battles are being fought. So I'm sure that after today, India's mindset is going to change. One. Second, there should be some kind of sense now within the Indian government that this kind of false narrative will not deter Pakistan. And lastly, I'm sure that now the Indian public will wake up and they are going to curse their own government. And I'm sure that very soon you are going to see that there is going to be not only a political debacle in India, but also the Indian government, whichever the government will come in India now, they will think twice before saying anything about Pakistan.
That is so true. Khalid Taimurakram Saab, thank you very much. Foreign Affairs Analyst Khalid Taimurakram joining us, discussing the different aspects of this very incident that has been happening since this morning. Pakistan has shown a very befitting response, as it has said, as our Deputy Minister had said, as our DGISP has said, that we reserve the right for a response at the time and place of our choosing. We've now been joined by Captain Babar B. Massey. He is a retired captain of the Pakistan Army. Thank you very much to have joined us, Captain Saab. Captain Saab, how important is the unwavering loyalty and commitment to Pakistan as far as all the different religions and communities is concerned, unlike India that is hell-bent on creating discord amongst the different communities that is there? Massey, can you hear us? Unfortunately, there seems to be some issue as far as that is concerned. But of course, as we very well know, that Pakistan's communities, religions, sects, whether they be Sikhs, whether they be the Christians, whether they be Hindus, they all are siding as far as Pakistan and Pakistan's narrative is concerned. Unlike India, which is trying to create a discord between the Hindus and the Muslims, this is a deliberate attempt to create that rift between the Hindus and Muslims within India, who have been living peacefully since centuries. But unfortunately, since 2014, slowly and steadily, what the Narendra Modi government is doing is sidelining the Muslim community, sidelining the Sikh community, sidelining the Christian community as well. Captain retired Babar B. Massey, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you very much, sir, to have joined us. How important is that unwavering loyalty and commitment that all the different religions, sects and minorities have for Pakistan and Pakistan's army and Pakistan's capabilities compared to what India is doing as far as their minorities is concerned?
Well, I would like to let you know that I have never felt myself as a minority, and I think the Christian community and the Christian officers serving in Pakistan Army at different units and different organizations like Air Force, Navy, they are one, they are a part of Pakistan, and we are the majority, and we are Pakistanis. We are Pakistanis first, then we are something else. So I would like to let you know that we have never felt that we are a minority, and we have always been treated like the citizens of Pakistan, as what our founder of the nation, Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, said, that we have all the equal rights. So when we are given the equal rights, we are supposed to lay down ourselves, our lives equally as others are doing. So we are one as a nation, we are one as a community, and we are there to serve the country, which is our homeland, our motherland, where our forefathers were buried, and we are there to give our lives for anything which comes against this country and this nation.
That is so true. Mr. Massey, when you look at how our Pakistani armed forces have befittingly responded to India's blatant aggression and violation since the last few days and its unfounded propaganda against Pakistan and its interests, how do you view Pakistan as one, as together under these circumstances as a collective voice against all this blatant propaganda?
Well, if you see the past wars of Pakistan, which we have fought with India, you know the results. And the Christian officers have been on the front line. We had a lot of Christian officers who laid down their lives for this motherland. And at the moment, what we foresee, the propaganda, India has always been fighting a war on propaganda, but not on reality and not on the facts and figures. We are a army which has very well trained. On ground, we have faced challenges like terrorism, fighting a war against terrorism for more than 2 decades now. And this has made our army very professional and the armed forces very professional, who can, work professionally and handle any kind of aggression which comes against our homeland. And in my own personal opinion, we are one of the #1 armies as far as profession is concerned, as far as our motivation is concerned. And the motivation of jihad, which we have, the concept, that is not for only the Muslims of this country, but for everybody who is in uniform and without uniform.
That is so true. Mr. Massey, also I'd like to understand, under the current circumstances and the way Pakistan has responded to the Indian aggression, how do you as a Pakistani see this? Does it and how do you feel the world sees Pakistan? Do you feel you or the world sees Pakistan now in a different light under the current circumstances?
Yes, sure. If you carry on an analysis of these couple of days, and if today you see the statements and everything which is coming, it is a very clear message to the world, to our allies, to anybody who is listening to me, and especially to the Indians, that we mean business and we are professional and we should not be taken lightly.
All right, that is so true. We should not be taken lightly. Thank you very much, Captain Babar B. Massey, to have joined us. That was Captain Retired Babar B. Massey giving us his output, being a retired captain in the Pakistan Army as well, and how important it is under the current circumstances to have a unified stance, and how Pakistan has been unified under the current circumstances to show a collective stance as far as Pakistan's narrative is concerned, under the guise of this baseless negative propaganda that has emanated since the Pahalgam first flag operation on the 22nd of last month. It has been going on non-stop through the Indian media, through the Indian government, through the false statements, through the false accusations. And India knows and how to do the needful and how to do whatever it does in order to manipulate the narrative of the Indian media and to try to show the world. These are images of the Fateh 1 missile that was launched this morning as well. And as you know, the capability of the Fateh 1 missile, and this is one of the latest missiles that Pakistan also showed the world, and now it is also it is showing its capabilities through. AVM Faiz Amir Saab joins us online. He's also a defense expert. Faiz Amir Saab, thank you very much to have joined us. It is I'm talking to you after a very, very long time. Hope you and the family are fine. My first question to you, as a former AVM, how proud are you of our armed forces, of how they have befittingly responded to the Indian aggression since this morning?
Well, it's definitely a moment of satisfaction to see the Air Force, Pakistan Air Force, and other forces carrying their traditions forward. Let me say that our enemy was not weak, not weak. They were not ill-trained. They were better people. But here, on that particular moment, I think a better training and better traditions helped Pakistan Air Force to carry the day or night, as you may call it. So this was definitely a matter to be satisfied, to be happy that the defense of the country is in good hands.
That is true. Faiz Amir Sahab, also Pakistan has very ably showed that it is able to defend its motherland in more ways than one. Did India expect this response till this morning? Did it think at any moment when it was accusing Pakistan of all things false and all propaganda that was built on hollow grounds, that Pakistan would react this way?
Actually, if you look at the precedents of these incidents that happened after Pahalgam, precedent was that there was a action by India, a reaction by Pakistan, and things would go down, and both would agree to a standoff. But this time, what happened was that probably there was a large miscalculation on their part as regards the capability of Pakistan Air Force, which they lost about 4 or 5 aircraft right in the first encounter. And since the Indian government and Indian leadership needed a face saving, they could not end the conflict over there. And that is what made them go ahead and implement the plan B. And plan B was if the escalation occurs. So I see it as a not the conflict never follows the same pattern. The war is never fought. You never fight a previous war. You always fight a new war. But probably the Indians expected us to fight the older playbook, and that is what surprised them. The capabilities, the performance, the daring approach of the Pakistan Armed Forces, that is a definite surprise for them. And now once they got surprised and they got mauled by their own people and by the Western media and the media outside, did start to mention initially 1 aircraft, then 4 aircraft. So world's 4th largest air force losing aircraft to a smaller air force, much smaller air force, is definitely disheartening and disconcerting for any leadership. So they had to escalate or go a step higher to have a safe face saving. Because if you look at the pattern of their media, they from moment one, from day one, from first hour, they were on a provocative pattern. So they every time every channel was escalating the war as if they had a brief, they had a script. The frenzy that you saw on their media raised the expectations of the Indian people from their military, which the military, because of a setback, could not meet. So Indian leadership had no other option but to escalate. And Pakistan also had no other option but to escalate and go ahead with the escalation because after every 3 to 5 years, this thing happens. Something happens in Kashmir or India. Pakistan is blamed, and then the Indian army, Indian military takes some action. We respond. So this pattern has been going on since 2001 onwards. So this has to come to an end, and the end only comes when the adversary becomes convinced that the other side will not take it lying low.
All right. Thank you so very much, Air Vice Marshal Faiz Amir Saab, to have joined us, to have given us your eminent point of view. And I hope to get more of from you in the coming days as well. We've been joined by Brigadier Nadir Mir Saab. He's a defense analyst as well. Thank you very much, sir, to have joined us. My first question concerns Pakistan's defense capabilities. Have we shown the world, have we shown our adversary of what we're capable of? Is this just an important element of what Pakistan can do if provoked?
Pakistan has achieved escalation domination as of now, which means in simple terms for the general public that where we stand today, on 10th May, after midday, is that Pakistan is militarily dominant. It's not that the war is over, it's not that we have won the total war, but we are militarily dominant and one step ahead of the Indians, or one rung above the Indians. That is for sure. The Indians started this with their aggression, as you know, in one of the largest aerial battles of recent times, in which Pakistan Air Force was able to shoot down 5 of the planes, and including Rafales and top of the line Su-30s and all that. That's his history, and it's global. It's being globally recognized and analyzed. So that was the first thing, and this actually broke. This was the tipping point, because you know, in modern war, as you see recently in the Ukraine-Russia war and all over in Gaza and Iran, Israel, all the calculations, the military analysis, the first thing you need in a modern war before India launches its land forces, strike corps and armored divisions and the naval armadas is air dominance, air supremacy. So if that is not there, if the Indians don't rule the skies, how will they win on the land and sea? So this shattered the myth of Indian supremacy, that they could achieve a dominance or whatever they had planned. This is the first thing, and it was a tipping point already. Of course, the media churned out as many lies as they usually does, but that is irrespective, that the whole world knows about it. This is first. This was the first thing, and this was, by the way, defensive. Pakistan Air Force didn't go deep into India to strike. The Pakistan Air Force was defending Pakistan, but it won the battle. It was like the Battle of Britain in the sense of symbolic. It is like the Battle of Britain turned the tide in the Second World War between Germany and England. This turned the tide initially. This was a tipping point, a very initial tipping point. So the whole nation of Pakistan salutes the Pakistan Air Force. We are Fazaya, we are proud of it. And of course, it was followed by our army, which did tactical successes in Kashmir, because the war had not started. And Indians answered that with their next move, which was sending drones and all those things over Pakistani cities, and then following up, the next days with missiles. And Pakistan also sent some light aerial, drones, basically to reconnoiter and to prepare for the big strike, which Pakistan did. And so Pakistan has responded in a major way with this strike capabilities, Fateh and other, instruments of war, air force. Basically, you can call it so far the air, missile, drone war, a bulk of it. Of course, the land battles have taken place in Kashmir, small tactical levels. But overall, an air, missile and drone war, which I would say Pakistan has the upper hand. I'm not saying the war is over and we shouldn't be bloating, and we shouldn't be talking like the Indian media does. We have to be very realistic, very professional, very calculated, so that we win the war, which I've been saying on your channel and all channels, that if an encounter takes place, a war between India and Pakistan, then we must win. Whatever the scale of victory it is, we must win. And we are on the winning side as of now. This is one. You heard about the Indian Navy, which was being brought out, their aircraft carrier and all. That's, very, very unprofessional for anyone. Only the Indian media can say that. Because if the Indians don't have air supremacy, then that carrier group and its ships would themselves be vulnerable to Pakistan Air Force and also Pakistan Navy, which is also alert and ready to face a larger Indian Navy. So having said that, this was the military side. As you asked, has Pakistan shown its military muscle and mettle and prowess? Certainly it has, but this is just the first part. Pakistan has many, many, many other cards to play. I'm talking militarily. If it comes to that, even at this belated stage, as I've always said, Pakistan's national aim and policy is for peace, and we should go for peace if the Indians relent now, because we have answered them. It is the Indians who will now go for the next round or further escalate. And of course, then Pakistan will will give them an answer to that too. This is where we stand today militarily, but that doesn't answer the whole story. You see, there is no such thing as military in isolation. You have to also acknowledge that the entire Pakistan political system, or our political forces, our media, our administrative forces, our bureaucracy, our diplomacy, everybody, they united as a great nation and rose to the occasion to support the armed forces and defend Pakistan. And another point is the geopolitical environment, which has turned totally against India in the sense no one has supported India in its war against Pakistan. This is the biggest shock because the Indians have been projecting themselves as a great power. They've been saying that, India is the next global power and all that, all that jazz. So I would say that India, and I'm going to write a detailed article on this, that India is losing this war. It is not only on the military. Of course, the military side proves to the whole world how Pakistan can defend itself. But actually, you see, number one, Kashmir has been globalized by the Indians themselves by doing all this.
Agreed.
Number two, globally, India has achieved nothing. You see, it was trying to project itself as a great power, and you know what? And Pakistan was having some problems, as you recall, about 2 weeks back or a month back. So those problems haven't disappeared, but Pakistan nation has united and risen, and the world has seen that this nation of Pakistan, you see the fervor of the people in Bedia, Lahore, and in other places in Pakistan, all over. Civilians have gone out with their weapons and fired at drones. Just see the spirit of the people. I'm trying to say, can this nation be conquered by anybody? You think so? I don't think any nation which is willing to fight. It's 250 million people, 25 crore people, not just the soldiers, sailors, and airmen of Pakistan, which is, of course, the tip of the spear, the spirit. So this whole thing, this is also unnerved the Indians because they were projecting a civil war in Pakistan. They were projecting that the Indians are hiding in bunkers and Pakistanis are on the streets firing at drones. So you can see the contrast. This is one. And one more thing I want to highlight here is that the biggest failure of India has been that what it has been projected has been shattered. This great power projection. Even if it was equal, the military score-wise, even then India would be losing because it has 10 times GDP, it's 7 times geography and demography and all that. But here, Pakistan, a smaller nation, has come out better so far in this. And if war takes place, Pakistan being on the defensive side will be able to achieve its defense. And not only that, Pakistan, I keep repeating, has many cards to play. It can play the Khalistan card. It can play the economic card. India's GDP, which has risen, is because of its various, economic assets. So Pakistan, if it strikes that, India will calm down, and India will also be going to the IMF. And they've been joking about Pakistan. Well, we can bring the Indians with us in one more club that is called the IMF club.
Well, that is true, but they have lost even as far as the IMF is concerned because the IMF has okayed the tranche, in fact, 2 tranches as far as Pakistan is concerned. Thank you very much, Brigadier Nadir Mir Sahab, to have joined us. We'll be, of course, troubling you again in the next couple of hours as well. We've also been joined by Lieutenant General Raza Muhammad Khan Sahab, who is also a defense and senior analyst. Thank you very much, sir, to have joined us in this afternoon. Sir, what are the strategic implications of Pakistan's precision strikes on the Indian air bases, the military installations, high-value targets like the S-400 system, and the BrahMos storage sites?
Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. First of all, I think as the government of Pakistan had declared to India as well as to the rest of the world that it is Pakistan's right, according to the United Nations Charter's Article 51, and that we have actually exercised that right. And it is actually some kind of a response, you can call it, counter-offensive. It is actually by itself still a defensive action. That is one. Secondly, I think there was a need to re-establish conventional deterrence in the subcontinent, which India was thinking to erode, and they somewhat succeeded in it. In the last 10 or 12 days. And they thought that this is going to become the new norm, where India will continue its aggression against Pakistan and its terrorist activities against Pakistan, and that Pakistan will merely absorb it and live with it. I think that bayaniya, as they call it, in Urdu, that has been shattered. And I'm sure India would have learned a lesson from that with our response, which was again a very responsible response because every effort was made that even as a collateral damage, no civilians are hurt in this. As against, the Indians' declared policy of hitting civilians. So I think the world needs to know about it. Indian media, Indian people should know about it, about the difference, between our policies and their policies. And of course, there were certain, surprises that we had, and we gave them those surprises. And I hope they have learned from them also. And I hope that better sense will now prevail among the Indian leadership, and they would not either respond to our defensive response, or it will change. It will actually compel them to revise their belligerent policies against Pakistan.
All right. How, in your point of view, sir, does Pakistan's transparent communication about its military operation contrast with the Indian media's tendency to propagate false narratives?
Well, unfortunately, the Indians believe in Goebbels' sort of narrative, who, was Hitler's propaganda minister. And his policies were that you keep lying again and again, so that the truth can be converted, into lies themselves. So that is the kind of policy which they were following. They also tried, to follow that old age adage, which was probably okay in 10 or 20 or 30 years back, that everything is okay in war. They've seen that that is actually again an old thought, because this is now an era where you can see everything. The international community can see everything, and this is an era of social media where you cannot hide the truth. So I am sure they have learned a lesson from that also. I would like to make a mention of two things specifically. One is the Indian efforts, to target their own area in Indian Punjab, close to Amritsar, and to target some areas in Afghanistan, with a view to creating, a misperception that Pakistan has targeted these areas, so that the people of Punjab and of Afghanistan, they actually adopt an approach different to what it is right now. And secondly, even, if this was an act of negligence, it speaks volumes of the lack of training of Indians, to handle kinds of weapons which are actually weapons of deterrence, and I am referring to missiles. And they actually they showed that to the world also a few years back, when they had actually sent a BrahMos missile somewhere in Balpur, and later on they hid that for a long time, and later on after the election they did an inquiry and they said, well, that was a mistake. So I think the world needs to know that their missile force are absolutely in incompetent and wrong hands, and I think they need to take a serious note of that. The other thing that I'd like to mention is Pakistan's capability in or its capacity in the electronic spectrum, and we have communicated to them that we have that capability now, where we can jam their military satellites whenever we want. We can also turn useless their electrical grid systems and a number of other areas. And the ones about the electrical grid systems, I think they should learn a lesson from that if they start manipulating the water of the eastern rivers, or for that matter even the western rivers, then the electrical grids can actually be affected by whatever we have demonstrated to them in mainland India.
All right, General Saab. All right. Before we, bid you farewell, I'd like to understand a little bit on the diplomatic front, given the recent call from the US Secretary of State Marco Rubio, not only to our Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister, but also to our Chief of the Army Staff, how should Pakistan leverage this diplomatic window in order to reinforce its strategic deterrence?
Well, I think if India agrees now not to respond to the defensive measures taken by Pakistan, then the government of Pakistan can consider, not to de-escalate any further or any other conditions which they feel appropriate, for agreeing to a de-escalation. I think they should also impress upon all those interlocutors to tell India to call back whatever decisions they had taken in the past, whatever threats they have been hauling at Pakistan about Indus Water Treaty, and their attitude towards the Kashmiris in particular and Muslims in India. I think all those aspects needs to be communicated to them so that if de-escalation has to happen, then there would be minimum chances now of, another escalation between India and Pakistan.
Oh, that time will tell, sir. Thank you very much, Lieutenant General Raza Mohammad Khan, Sub-Defense Analyst, Senior Analyst, who have joined us. And I'm sure we'll be troubling you in the hours and the days to come. Thank you very much for your collaboration as far as this is concerned. Ramesh Arora Saab, our famous minister from Punjab, joins us online as well. Ramesh Saab, thank you very much to have joined us, and I've received your salam, walaikum, to you as well. Looking at the response from the Pakistani side since this morning, after the continued blatant aggression by India, do you feel that this will lead to a successful maybe reduction in the Indian hostilities, or do you feel that India is hell-bent on doing whatever it wants or whatever it is doing?
See, Pakistan, there was a restraint policy from the Pakistan side that why we wanted to be restrained to do any sort of attack on the India. And what India did on the night of 6th and 7th, they attacked our innocent people who were living at that time. They were sleeping, and see what they did. The children who were in the age from the 2 years to 7 years, they killed them, they assassinated them, they attacked them. Likewise, they not only they attacked through the missile to different cities of Pakistan. Basically, they destroyed the international law, the international treaties, and no law allowed you to attack any country and attack the sovereignty of any country. Apart from that, on the very next day, they sent more than 100 drones to the different cities of Pakistan. They also attacked to the Nankana South. And last night, the adventures they did, there was a 5 ballistic missile they attacked on the Amritsar. And certainly when there is so much aggression from the Indian side, so the policy of the Pakistan was to be restrained, but ultimately there's a pressure from the Pakistani side, and we responded. And we responded in a way, and now we have attacked their air bases, we have attacked wherever the installation of the air bases, Air Force was, and now see what is happening in the Indian media now. Now they want to have, you can say, a peace process to be started and sense should prevail. So where was that sense and where was that peace when we were talking again and again about go for the peace? And from the last 5 days, there was poisonous news from the Indian media, and I blame the Indian media because in Indian media, sense doesn't prevail. But I still, being a Pakistani, I was being a part of the government. My wish would be that sense should prevail and peace process should be started between these two nations, because both the nations are having the atomic power. Both nations are the atomic countries. And see, more than 2 billion people are living in this area. So if we are going to attack one country, the other would resist. So once we resist, so there's the life of 2 billion people on stake. That's why I would urge to the international community to the human rights defender, to the United Nations, come forward. Because right now, Mr. Modi is promoting the Hindutva. So other than Hindutva, he doesn't believe on any other religion, any other faith. So if you look at the history of India, no minority living in India enjoys the basic fundamental rights. So normally, people from the media, they raise a question, they ask a question from me, where do you compare between India and Pakistan when it comes to human rights? So see, the Constitution of Pakistan categorically says that every human being, every citizen of the state living in Pakistan enjoys equal rights. But unfortunately, we have discussed so many times this thing in your program that the Constitution of India says what is Hinduism, who comprise, Hinduism is comprised on the Buddha mat, on the Hindu mat, and the Sikh mat. It means you have lost the identity of Sikh. That's why now Sikh is standing with the Pakistan, because Pakistan is talking about the peace. And yesterday's aggression towards the Amritsar, day before, yes, aggression towards the Nankana Sahib, that is in the revenge of that Sikh communities standing with Pakistan, because Sikh is standing with the Pakistan because the beginning of Sikhism is in Pakistan. There are so many historical places of the Sikhism is in Pakistan, and right now, when there was people were going back from the Pakistan to India and from India to Pakistan, at that time Pakistan gave a message to the Sikh community that we will not cancel any visa of any Sikh Yatri who is interested to come to Pakistan. Not only
Exactly.
that,
Contrary to India.
Yeah. Not only that, we opened the Kartarpur, and Kartarpur corridor was opened till day before yesterday. And day before yesterday, when India attacked Pakistan, they also closed the border of Kartarpur corridor. So no one Sikh devotee is nowadays, for last 3 days, no devotee is coming to Kartarpur. And I would urge to the Sikh community, while they are from the India, they are from any other part of the world, come forward. This is your fundamental right. If you want to go to Pakistan for your religious obligation, no one should stop you, because the Constitution of Pakistan gives rights to every minority. Likewise, this is your fundamental right. So I just received the message. I just received a message from the World Sikh Parliament, and they are standing, and their argument is that India is attacking the Amritsar, India is attacking the Nankana Sahib, and now there's a peaceful protest. They're demanding from the United Nations, they are demanding from the US that India must be stopped, that they don't attack on our religious places, because once, under the cover of Indo-Pak war, India is trying to attack six holiest shrine, Darbar Sahib, Amritsar, as well as Pakistan. So this is the thinking of Sikhism, and this is the thinking of the Sikh nation. So Sikh nation, either they are in India or anywhere else, they are standing with the Pakistan.
All right, Ramesh Saab, I'd like to add something here. Twice or even more than twice in the last few days, India has deliberately tried to sow discord between the Sikh community in Indian Punjab and Pakistan by launching false flag operations. You've alluded to some of them as well. You've talked about Amritsar and Nankana Sahib, but these were not the only places. There were other places also where India first bombed and then said it was Pakistan that had done that. How, in your point of view, does the Sikh community in the Indian Punjab understand what the truth is? How, in your point of view, should Pakistan counter this attempt to sow discord between the Sikh community and Pakistan?
But sir, there was a clear-cut statement by the Information Minister. There was a clear-cut statement by the DGISPR. There was a clear-cut statement by the Defense Minister and Foreign Minister that what come may, in any case, the Pakistani soldiers, the Pakistani armed forces would never attack the worship places of the Sikhism in Punjab. So this is our clear-cut stance from the state of Pakistan. And we will never do that, because we know right now the Sikh community is standing with the peace process of Pakistan. The Sikh community is standing with the Pakistan because, like the Muslim says, that whosoever would be the Muslim, he would have his emotional attachment with the Makkah to Mukarramah and Medina to Munawwara, and every Muslim would have a wish to go there. Likewise, Sikh 2 times in a day would pray to come to Nankana Sahib, to come to Kartarpur Sahib, to come to Panja Sahib. because they have their religious affinity with this place. That's why, because the foundation of Sikhism is from the Pakistan, and that's why every Sikh is standing now with the Pakistan. And now Sikh has realized that wherever there is a war between India and Pakistan, they have used the Indian Punjab. Now there's a strong argument from the Indian side, why always you use this Punjab to attack on the other side of the Punjab? Because their belief is these are the Punjabi people who always promote peace, who always promote coexistence, who always promote social cohesion. So I am of the view that right now, the Sikh, whatever they're going to do, either they do the false flag operation like they did in Pahalgam, and day before yesterday, they did the false flag operation in Karazab, and last night they did the false flag operation in Amritsar. Whatever they do, Sikh would never believe on that, never ever. And whatever I'm talking right now with you, that I received a statement from the United Kingdom and from the US, from the United Sikh, this is World Sikh Parliament, and let me read it out for you and for the viewers and for the listeners as well. The statement is, World Sikh Parliament condemns India's attack, India's move, and requests US to intervene and save Sikh homeland Punjab. Under the cover of Indo-Pak war, India trying to attack Sikh's holiest shrine, Darbar Sahib, which is Amritsar, again. So what they did in 1984, when there was a Sikh genocide and there was Sikh assassination in Amritsar and in Delhi, what they did Sikh genocide, and the majority of the Sikh people, they migrated from India to other places of the world. So now, the assassination of one of the Indian citizens, his name was Hardeep Singh Nijjar. Why India assassinated them? Because
that is
it was
so true.
against
The
the
fact
policy
is,
of...
Ramesh Arora Saab, the fact is that India's intentions lay bare in front of the whole world now, post the Pahalgam false flag operation, and also the past is going to come to haunt them, whether it be Canada, Mr. Nijjar's case, whether it be the US, whether it be the UK, whether it be all the other countries where they have been taking part in the various forms of terrorism as well. Thank you very much, Ramesh Singh Arora Saab, to have joined us, and Sat Sri Akal to you and your family. We've now been joined by Khurram Dastagir Saab, leader PMLN. Khurram Dastagir Saab, thank you very much, sir, to have joined us. It is a pleasure to have you on board. First of all, how proud are we, sir, today as a nation after Pakistan has stood its ground and has shown a befitted reply to India's blatant aggression?
I would prefer to say that we bow in humility before Allah Almighty, that we have re-established deterrence against India by demonstrating our formidable offensive skill, our solid intent, and very effective planning. So we should be bowing before Allah Almighty that He has granted us unity against the enemy, the strength to protect our soil and our people, the humanity not to target civilians in India, but also it has granted us our soldiers in all three forces who have mastered their skill. We have always been fortunate with allies who have aided us in time of need. And of course, most important of all, the national determination to persist against this hegemonic enemy. So Pakistan has now not only just demonstrated to India, but to the world that Pakistan's capability will always resist Indian hegemonic designs in South Asia. We are a responsible nuclear power, and we are also now, I think, aimed at ensuring that the Indian water terrorism will be answered and they will be held responsible.
Khurram Dastagir Sahib, you talked of national determination. We've seen one voice emanate from all the political parties, irrespective of them being in the government or the opposition. What kind of political message is going to the entire world as far as Pakistan's united response is concerned?
The message is that when it comes to Pakistan's integrity and sovereignty, the nation, despite all its fault lines and divisions and differences of opinion will come together to save the soil. And we have seen this demonstrated in so many times. We have seen this in the resilience and humor Pakistani nation has demonstrated in the last week or so. And going forward, this is a perfect time that the elected Prime Minister and the military leadership can once again ask the people that this is the way forward for Pakistan's economic security, which is also equivalent to military security, and to take difficult decisions. I think what this week has done is enabled our government to take difficult decisions that might have been caused more hostility or controversy in our politics. It will be, I think, a tremendous opportunity in the weeks ahead. And now we are approaching the annual budget a few weeks from now, is to take decisions that will, inshallah, lead Pakistan to greater economic strength for its own survival, but also to resist the hegemonic India.
All right. At the same time, our Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif Saab had many a times highlighted the fact that Pakistan had been wishing for an impartial and neutral probe into the Pahalgam false flag operation. This is something that was also reiterated by the US side very recently, which sided with Pakistan's stance. What now? Will India concede to this impartial probe?
Knowing the Hindutva government in India, I don't expect it to. But then facts always come out. In 2019, if you remember, your audience can remember, India claimed to have downed the F-16 plane, and they also accused Pakistan of using F-16s against India. They wanted to sort of rouse the United States to somehow sanction Pakistan. And after a great fuss over many days, finally, 6 years later, no one has the temerity to claim that something like that happened. It was thoroughly discredited. So many of the claims that Indians have made will be thoroughly discredited, and Pakistan should continue to offer its impartial investigation into Pahalgam if India desires so. But more important part is that Pakistan has now been handed by India a unique opportunity to prove India as a rogue nation, as a terrorist nation in terms of financing terror in Pakistan like Jafar Express, but also as India has itself admitted that it has run a major assassination campaign in Pakistan. So it opens up India to Pakistan's application in the Financial Action Task Force before all the international organizations. And finally, by weaponizing water, it also Pakistan has the opportunity to demonstrate India to the world as a nation that weaponizes water, that threatens to essentially starve 250 million Pakistanis. And this is not a matter just for the UN, it is for the matter of every human rights organizations, every environmental organizations, every water protection organization. So Pakistan is now in a unique position to launch this diplomatic and communication offensive against India in days to come so that the world can know what the Hindutva face actually looks like.
All right. Khalid Saab, also, how effectively, in your point of view, has Pakistan countered the extensive disinformation campaigns that emanated from India that were undermining public morale, international perception as well?
Well, Pakistan took a little time in gearing up for the information war, but alhamdulillah, it is now fully charged up. But there is always more space in making our communication most effective, particularly internationally. So I think that's a challenge for Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and his team to launch again this offensive, not only in the diplomatic sphere, but also in the information sphere, and launch it internationally, not in Pakistan. It needs to be told in New York, in Tokyo, in Brussels, in London, in Beijing, and all these capitals, whether they are friendly or not, need to know the truth about the Hindu extremism that has brought South Asia to the brink of nuclear war, the extreme irresponsibility shown by government of India in launching this offensive without any proof, unprovoked, and killing innocent civilians across international borders. This is very serious business.
That is true. Khuram Dastagir Sahab, how successful has Pakistan been on the diplomatic front? Our Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar Sahab got in touch with almost all the important leaders of the countries of the world to highlight Pakistan's point of view and narrative and the true image of exactly what has been happening since this Pahalgam false flag operation began. Do you feel that the countries understand Pakistan's perspective, Pakistan's point of view? Because we've seen the statements, and none of the statements have ever, since the Pahalgam false flag operation began, to the detriment of India and the Indian public and the Indian government, pointed fingers towards Pakistan.
Pakistan's diplomatic offensive has been very successful. I think Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar did an excellent job in forestalling what used to be a knee-jerk Indian support in most of the capitals. And he also took advantage of changing geopolitics also. This is not 2019. That was 6 years ago. United States is out of Afghanistan, and many countries are now looking to readjust their association and where they want to go in the future in order to safeguard their economic growth and, of course, their security. But this Delhi's effort to essentially redesign deterrence in South Asia, now that Pakistan has countered it successfully, Pakistan is now again in a much better position than it was a week ago to speak effectively to countries of the world. So we also have a diplomatic now new boost to us. And Pakistan has shown that it can take the hit and hit back and essentially redraw the security map in South Asia, which of course India has also been losing in the last decade or so. So what we need to do moving forward is to have an unprecedentedly aggressive diplomatic campaign against India. Of course, it has to be a whole of government approach, and all parts of the government have to take part, because the way India has weaponized water, if it is not dealt with now, it will lead to another war in 6 or to 10 years' time. So we need to be working extra hard even after the end of this standoff to make sure that Pakistan's water is secure and the world knows the kind of extremely aggressive and unprovoked actions India has taken. India has been irresponsible, and that irresponsibility and its assassination campaign you mentioned earlier in Canada, in the United States, and in Pakistan need to be highlighted extensively.
All right. Final question to you, Khuram Dastagir Sahab. I've taken a lot of your time, and thank you so much to have given us that time. What options does Pakistan have under the current geostrategic, geopolitical and geoeconomic arena that our region is engulfed with following the false flag operation? And of course, the diplomatic successes that you have talked about. Pakistan's ability to dominate air, ground, cyber and command domains in just 5 hours also indicates its evolving defense strategy. What are the other strategies that Pakistan can avail in the coming days and weeks in order to further strengthen its narrative and its positioning in the subcontinent?
Well, there are 3 parts to the strategy. The first is, of course, to deepen our strategic cooperation with China. I think it's very clear that the Chinese capabilities are now at the world-class level because most of Pakistan's arms are made by China. And their efficacy has now been proven not only in hardware but in software also. And to realize and to make the world realize that South Asia has become, to use a phrase from other realm, is it's become a three-body problem. It's not just India and Pakistan. It's China also. China shares the upper Indus Basin, which is in terms of the reserves of ice, is only down from the north and south poles. So it's called the third pole. So China has very real strategic and environmental interests in South Asia. So that Pakistan needs to think about how to deepen our cooperation, how to make sure that we benefit from new scientific advances that China is making, number one. Number two is a more positive action, is to open ourselves up more to our South Asian neighbors. So in terms of trade, in terms of people movement, in terms of financial and infrastructure connectivity.
That is so true. There are so many different domains, as you are very ably out as far as the option that Pakistan has under the current circumstances. But of course, as we stand now, Pakistan is given that befitting response, not only to show to the world, but also to show our adversary India what we are capable of. And this is just a small part of that. This situation room continues. It's time for my colleagues Rafe and Maheen to continue with their news segment as well. Over to you, both of you guys, but there's also breaking news that's coming up.